tomorrow will be better. Let me take you a little bit to right angle triangles. Given that sine theta is equal to 2 divided by root of 6, find tan theta without using a calculator. Follow me, dear friends. Solution. In this section, it's important to recall all the three trigonometric functions: sine theta, cos theta, and tan theta. After recalling this, it's most important to know their definitions mathematically. Sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite all over the adjacent. And in this precise case, we are looking at the tangent. Recall this instruction without using calculator. Now the first thing to do in this case is to draft a right angle triangle and represent this information. Okay, we're going to do that right away. This is our right angle triangle here, which may not really be beautiful. Let's assume this is a supposed angle theta. All right, so let us represent this information, sine of theta. Now, again, let me remind you, what sine theta? Actually, sine theta is the ratio of the opposite to this angle divided by the hypotenuse, okay, and is reported to be 2 divided by root of 6, okay. So according to this information, this 2 here should be the opposite of our right angle triangle or to this angle, and root of 6 should be our hypotenuse. And now we don't know the adjacent, okay, we don't know the adjacent, and unfortunately, the tan of this angle requires the adjacent. So let us call it x. So let this side, which we don't know, be x. Let's say, but tan of the tangent of this angle here, by definition, is equal to the opposite to this angle divided by the adjacent to this angle. Some of you don't yet know what the opposite to an angle is and what the adjacent side to an angle is. The opposite side to an angle, as the name says, is the side which is directly opposite the angle. This means if here I had alpha, the opposite to the side or to the angle alpha is the side x, and the adjacent, as the English word says, adjacent, when something is adjacent to another thing, it means it's just next to that thing. But in very simple language, I would say the side which is adjacent to an angle is the side on which the angle is sitting, okay? So look at this. If this is the angle we consider theta, you will realize that theta sits on the side x. 2, or rather, alpha sits on the side 2. Therefore, 2 is adjacent to alpha. X is adjacent to theta, okay? So, let's get back to the question. But tan of theta is going to be equal to the opposite to theta, which is 2, all over the adjacent to theta, which is x. We don't know this adjacent, and that's what we're about to look for. And they insisted that without using a calculator. We can recall Pythagoras' theorem, which states that the square of the adjacent, or rather the square of the hypotenuse, is equal to the square of the opposite plus the square of the adjacent. Okay, so I want to apply this here, but all square, this hypotenuse here, all square, is equal to this opposite, all square, plus this adjacent, which we don't know, all square. At this point, no need to say we have to make x the subject of the formula. For those of you who are still struggling with this, subscribe to my channel, leave your comment down there, and I'll make a special session for you. All right, so now how do I make this the subject of the formula? Start by isolating it by sending everything else to the other side of the equation. Just a small reminder here, what is the square root of 6 all raised to the square? This is an opposite operation to this. For this reason, they are going to fall off like this. Okay, so I'm going to have it at 6. Now 2 square is 4. And I'm going to bring this 4 to the left side. And when it comes to the left side, it becomes -4. Okay? And then to the right side all alone, I'm going to have x squared. Let me roll this line like this. At this point, we just have to simplify things and then make x the subject. Now, I want to do some sort of reversing of the signs. So, on one side of the equality sign, I have x squared, and on the other side, I have 6 minus 4, which is a 2. All right? At this point, just as I said earlier, we have x squared. Watch out, this is not 2x. So to do away with the square sign, we will take the opposite of the square sign, which is the square root on both sides. So I'll have this and this go like this. So x will be nothing else but the square root of 2. 2 is not a perfect square, so its square root is going to be some sort of a decimal. All right, so we can leave it like this. But we haven't yet done. The question was to find tan of theta without using a calculator. Up to here, I haven't used any calculator, okay? So we will say, therefore, tan of this angle theta will be now the opposite which we had long ago divided by the adjacent which we just had, and which is x, root of 2. And that is it. Why is it this simple? Because tomorrow will certainly be better.